also in Africa and the like, who have all access to it, but they might not have access to other things. And I'm not talking about only the shopping experience. Another big portion of the metaverse is the healthcare part. Yeah. So if you have a digital doctor, a digital twin of yourself, he can see how your condition is, even he is not there. All of this is possible already now. So you have this whole point of telemedicine. You also have doctors, expert doctors who can.
Welcome to the show, Martha.
Thank you, Nimi. I'm very excited to be here today and to talk about my favorite topic, the metaverse.
I am very excited to talk to you too. So the Engatica interview series is a powerhouse of insights from industry experts and influencers from around the world. A platform that provides the latest news on AI, automation, and technologies that will help you grow your business. Join us, be a part of our community, learn, share, and grow with us. So, Martha, let's start off with one big question. How will the metaverse reframe human-centered experiences?
I think this is not only the question of the month, but the question of the universe, I would say. So it's a very, very big question. So maybe we first start a bit with trying to what is the vision of the metaverse, because as we have seen with many different experts, there is no real one fits all. So I would say there is a vision which is kind of agreed between everyone, which is that is definitely the future of the internet. And we see a lot of things already happening there. So that's number one. Then more into the vision, it's that's interoperable and interconnected, because that's not yet happening. If you have an avatar in one land, you cannot use it for the other land. You can not use your, in the future, meta avatar eventually. So people are working on this to make this fully fluid and transferable. And then there is a part of it which I think is very important, is that there is also a socializing expert, and that goes to the what you were asking for, what's the vision for us humans in the metaverse. And I think the vision there, or the idea there, is that we can socialize, we can play, we can work, we can earn. And for me, what is also important is there is a direct connect to the real world. So the metaverse is not kind of standalone. We have certain metaverse use cases, I would say, like Roblox, which is completely in the virtual world. And then we have metaverses which are more connected to our world. So if we take the shopping experience normally, or the Nike-verse as it's called, they have built a big Nike-verse where it's directly related also to what they do in the shop. So you have an experience in the shop, but you also have experience in the metaverse. So the thinking there is really that you connect all the different channels, you can say, from a consumer experience point of view, but you have one purpose. So in the Nike case, it's really to bring health, and not only the sports gear, but make you more healthy, make you more fit. And definitely you can do that also with the means of the metaverse, of the virtual world, of everything we have there already today.
Yeah. So when you said you can't use your avatar from one metaverse to another metaverse domain, are they like different companies or businesses that are using metaverse?
Yeah, so if we talk about, exactly. So you have different, I would call it, use cases of the metaverse. So we have the one big vision with a big M metaverse, and then we have the different use cases where we have the little m, I would say. So if you look like Roblox is a game with 50 million users, 50 million a month. And there are a lot of users there. So from 12 to 25, very heavily used. They have obviously started with gaming, but the experience goes far beyond. So for example, they have big concerts there. They have also parties there. So they do different things. They really socialize. And that's also the attraction beyond gaming. Sometimes for parents, it's nowadays very hard. I don't know how it is in India, but it's definitely here it has picked up that younger adults, and in particular also in the US and Asia, are sitting the whole day in front of their game. You think it's a game, but it's actually not the game, because they socialize with their friends. So also they don't use Facebook, they use usually Reddit. And the interesting thing now is Reddit, since 2 days, also came out with avatars. So yes, the idea behind this is that you need to have something to relate to. You need to have something for your extended self. And your extended self in the first instance is an avatar. And if you have tried it, normal people would say, oh my God, I mean, I heard in another talk, someone said, yeah, I think it's like a Playmobil, it's like this puppets in Playmobil. But it's not the same, because even in Playmobil, if you remember when you were a child and you were playing with puppets, you could completely imagine that's you. Now we are older, we lost a little bit that playing our association, but now if we do it with an avatar, is really the extension of yourself. And that's also from a neuroscience point of view what has been proven, that in a good and in a bad way, it's yourself. So you need to be very careful in what you do with yourself in the different verses.
Yeah. And
the other
here
point
I
would
have,
be related to that, because you ask also the traveling from one land to the other. So that's a gaming world. And then you have the non-gaming world, which is, for example, Decentraland, Sandbox. But having said that, these virtual worlds also have partially have games like Sandbox, because this is what attracts people that want to do something there. So you need to have something also which is adaptable to adults, and also older people or people who are beyond and above 25 need some entertainment. It does not have to be gaming. We have seen that in Decentraland. They have there the big fashion show. In Sandbox, we have Snoop
yes,
Dogg. He has the Snoopverse. So you start to see shopping, entertainment, so everything which adults enjoy in real life, they also do in the virtual world, and they can do this together with the friends all over the world. That's very nice, because right now we cannot travel so much, and also you have more interaction. So the
yeah.
point, I think, which some people miss, is this community aspect you have, so that you can really be together, exchange ideas, and you can even communicate with each other and do things together. So that's not only relevant for COVID. In my view, that's also very relevant for the future, if we are all spread with your family. So it's a bit like WhatsApp and FaceTime. It has saved us and is still saving us when my mom is not where I am, or my family is not where I am, but I can still exchange. And the next generation, you can say, of WhatsApp and FaceTime is the virtual world, where you can do a lot of things. And you were also asking about ownership. Yeah. So who owns it? And there obviously are the big companies, the Meta of this world, who are trying to create their own empire. Then Microsoft is more kind of, they also have technology, but they're working with other companies, big corporates. So you have the big tech owning. Then you have like Decentraland is a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization. Nevertheless, also with a lot of the DAOs, the analytics show that 80% of the DAOs, because for the voting right you have token, they are owned by a certain percentage of people. So it's unfortunately not as democratic and as we would love it to be. There will be still certain people. The challenge in general is, if you don't have someone who is responsible for, let's say, one or the other or the entire metaverse, who can you lean to if something goes wrong? So that's a big challenge also for the regulator.
Yes. So I have another follow-up question for the first question. You said we have different avatars for different worlds in the metaverse. Why is it different? Why can't it be just one so that you can relate to it? Like you look different in different worlds. Why is that?
That's the target where everyone is working on, but everything is unfortunately has different technology. So Roblox and the games are usually the games we know, Fortnite, they are not on blockchain. So they're not on the blockchain technology, whilst Decentraland and Sandbox are on blockchain. That's why sometimes also the experience we have there is not as nice yet, because the games have done it forever and they're so advanced in the experience. So how it looks, how photorealistic it is. There is right now a new publishment from the Unreal Engine 5. I mean, I think you really have to look at this as Unreal getting real, because you can create yourself something with your pictures, a whole ocean and everything, which looks absolutely real. So it will no longer be that we look also at spaces which are looking so unreal. They will look all real, which makes it even more exciting, but also more dangerous, because you have psychologically also a big addiction potential behind all this. There's another point. It's not only the avatars are all different, but also you don't have one digital identity. So you don't have one passport you can take to go through the different verses, you can say. So everything differently built, everything different technology. But this is changing now because people are obviously working on one digital identity, traveling through the world. You can think about it as an entire world, and you have a country like India and Germany and Europe and the US and Asia. And also there at the beginning, you couldn't travel freely. You had all the visas and the whatever. And people now have tried to harmonize the passports and harmonize how you get around. So you can think about it in that way.
Yeah, I'll definitely try out that. What was that? Can you say it again?
Unreal Engine 5.
Unreal Engine 5. Yeah, I'll try
Yeah,
that
look
out.
at this on YouTube and you will be like so impressed.
Yes.
And
I'll try
there
that out
also
and
they show you how to do it yourself. So it's really beautiful. Another one which is really nice, out of the gaming, is called from Epic. It's called MetaHuman. I don't know if you have seen that. You can create your own digital twin. So the avatar is really, for me, only a step in between. The next is really, and the technology is already there. It's a digital twin. So go to MetaHuman and you can create your twin, your digital twin, and looks like you. It's also not so difficult. So the technology is there. It's just how you connect all of this.
Yes, two things to try out. I'll definitely do that. So how do you think metaverse, virtual reality impact businesses?
Is a huge impact. So if you look at someone who is, I would say, also the guru in the metaverse, Matthew Ball is his name. He has done a lot of articles very early on for years now, so-called primers on the metaverse, where he really shows what the potential could be. And he estimates the potential in the next decade and a half to 10 to 30 trillion. Now you can say, okay, he's the expert and maybe he goes a little bit beyond what is possible, but you also have banks like Citibank making an estimate for the next 10 years already at around 13 trillion. So it's definitely huge potential. And it's not just the marketing part, it's what companies have to think about and brands have to think about. What is my purpose? What do I want? Like Nike, what is it? And what can I achieve beyond what I have in the real world? And how can I reach my consumers in the future? And a lot of this is about community, because communities are closest to our heart, and communities are what the difference makes. And that is what Nike is very, very good at in a positive sense. Then you obviously have things like the Bored Ape Club. I don't know if you know them, Bored Ape Yacht Club. So there are digital non-fungible tokens, so which are digital. So they look like a bored ape. They look totally ridiculous. And out of that, there were 10,000 of them. They're NFTs. They're now sold and they have a quite high value. Out of that, they have created a club. And you have certain club benefits, club perks, club memberships, but they also do parties in the real world, but just for that club. I'm not saying it's good or bad. What I'm saying is that demonstrates you this feeling which we have, that we really would love to be part of community, exchange ideas with our peers, and talk to them. And obviously during COVID it was more difficult, but even now we have friends all over the world. So how can we best communicate? How can we exchange ideas? And Zoom is maybe not always the best way.
Yes. So how will successes in the metaverse be measured for businesses?
Yeah, there are, I think, different parameters. The first parameter is obviously that you grow your community. That's the most important, because if no one is connecting with your brand, that's worse. But there are also other measures. It depends on, again, what the purpose is. So you have the so-called Omniverse from NVIDIA. That's a digital twin, for example, from manufacturers. So BMW, Siemens, and they're very focused on optimizing the efficiency, optimizing also the work of the people there, and they can save millions, billions even. So Siemens has now estimated 1.7 billion savings. So there are different ways how to measure depending on what kind of purpose you have.
It changes from domain to domain, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
So should brands and businesses start implementing metaverse as of now in 2022, or is there time for them to research on it and then find out what to do with it and then start implementing?
I think there is already so many use cases in the metaverse that it would be wrong not to start now. But what we also see that there are a lot of use cases, but maybe some of them are really useless. So you have a lot of learnings, but it's important that you experience it. So I wouldn't go full in. It wouldn't be my recommendation, depending on like Siemens, BMW. It's very clear. It's very different. But if you think about the Nike verse, what they have done is they start with one experience, then they add another one, then they reconnect with their community, what works, what doesn't work. So you can basically do work with your customers, with your users, like you do normally in a digital transformation anyway, in an agile setup, and test and learn with them and create together with them. So from that point of view, I think it's very important you start now. And there is another bank, JP Morgan, who has also issued a report on the metaverse, and they also have very, very clearly said, and I completely agree with that, that the asymmetrical risk not to be part of this is higher than the investment. But it obviously also depends on what you invest. So should you invest 10 billion, depends on the size of the company. Like Meta, they definitely should do that. But other companies, I would say, test and learn, and then use again, do the next experience, and also try at the beginning to have a very clear roadmap. So just don't get into this and I do this, I do this, I do this, and it won't be very successful. Only if you are
Yeah,
lucky.
yeah. So like how AI, there was a boom, AI boom, and every company was talking about smartifying their products by just using AI, even if it is not needed in few use cases in their company. So you say companies should gauge how much of this technology they should use and not unnecessarily.
Yeah, it's a technology, but it's also about the way the experiences work. Yeah, so I always love
Correct.
to quote Steve Jobs, because he always says you have to start with the experience and then work backwards to technology.
True, very true.
So that's really, really true, because you need to think about what experiences do consumers really appreciate and love. And as Steve Jobs did with the smartphone, we haven't thought about the smartphone. No one would have said, yeah, this is what I want. But he was already so far advanced. He was thinking, what could be what makes a difference to their life in a positive way? And we should
Correct.
think about the same. What makes a difference to people's life in a very positive way? And my recommendation there is also that you go to experts who have the knowledge, who know how to build. And that's one of the remits we have at the Metaverse Academy. I'm the dean and the partner of the Metaverse Academy, is really not only the training and the learning, but helping brands to develop their Web3 strategy, helping brands to think about what is really important for me and how can I improve what my consumers want? How can I make their life easier? How can I make it better? That's really the purpose of what we are doing at the Metaverse Academy.
And I have another question. So, how far into the population do you think metaverse can reach?
How far? It's actually already more far advanced than we might think.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we think worldwide, we have 3 billion gamers already. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if that is a use case for the metaverse, then it's very, very far. And what also is a positive of the metaverse is what you maybe allude to is the inclusion. Yeah. So you need internet, you need 5G to
Yeah.
have that. So that's not everywhere the case yet. But you have a huge population also in Africa and the like who have all access to it, but they might not have access to other things. And I'm not talking about the only the shopping experience. Another big portion of the metaverse is the healthcare part. Yeah. So if you have a digital doctor, a digital twin of yourself, he can see how your condition is, even he is not there. All of this is possible already now. So you have this whole point of telemedicine. You also have doctors, expert doctors who can be with you or can be in Africa, even with people who are not so knowledgeable, Microsoft is working on the HoloLenses, and they have all these use cases already. And I find this extremely exciting. It's not what people talk about. They talk about the NFTs, they talk about the art, but the healthcare is amazing. So from that point of view, I think really that's something to look at very closely.
That is so exciting. So before we end our conversation, do you have any other sound bites to share with our audience?
Yeah, if you get into the metaverse and into, I would say to a certain extent, also a hype, but this is completely normal in the emerging trend cycle, I do recommend to come to learn first and to get experiences yourself. And then really with that spirit, test and learn, but also think about what is the purpose? How can you make our life, your life, the life of consumers better? And how can you also do something better for the entire society? Because a lot of things will not change really people's life in a good way. But there are also, on the other hand, mountains of things which are issues which can be solved with the metaverse. And that's what I'm trying to also support, is how can we solve all these issues to make the life and to make the world a better place? It's a big ambition, but I do think we have all something to contribute, something big. Everyone is part of this, and that's great.
Yeah, and like you suggested, me and our audience, all of us should go and try out Unreal Engine and MetaHuman. So that's where we start our learning from.
And then obviously I would love to see you at the Metaverse Academy. So we also offer classes in English. And if you have any questions with relation to your brand, your company, then we are here to help you. Come to us and speak.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Martha, for sharing your valuable insights with us. For more content, subscribe to Engati and tap the bell icon to get access to exclusive content from thought leaders from around the globe. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you with a new expert soon.
Yeah, thank you, Nimi. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.